Hi, welcome to Surgical X, Surgery Explained. Today's topic's going to be knot tying. I think when we talk about surgery, we're talking about tissue approximation oftentimes, and to understand that, we need to understand sutures, and in order to understand sutures, we need to understand what is a knot. So we're going to talk about a few different types of knots today, starting with a simple knot. We'll talk about surgical knot, we'll talk about square knots, and then we'll go from there, okay? So in order to demonstrate that, I'm going to use a coffee mug and a piece of paracord. I think this is about 1/8 inch paracord. You don't have to use anything fancy. You don't have to buy something from the store. Just use what you have at home, whether it's a shoelace, a piece of string. We're not going to get into any types of hand techniques today. We're just going to focus on what is a knot and why do we do knots the way we do it. So let's begin. Coffee mug with a handle. That's important because that's going to be our base that we're going to tie our knots around. Okay. Rainbow paracord. I think this is probably 1/8 inch, and I cut it to about 30 inches. Okay. I've taken another piece, and with a black Sharpie, I've colored it. I've colored half of it. Okay. So we can tell one leg from the other, and it's going to make the demonstration a little easier to understand. Okay. So let's begin. We're going to take our paracord and loop it through the handle. You have a left leg and a right leg. Let's move this a little that way so it's easier to see. Okay, if you have two legs, to begin, I'm going to take the right leg, pass it over the left. Okay. Should be able to see that. You have the right leg over the left. Okay. Take that right leg, pass it up through the loop. There you go. Basic knot. Now, for our next one, we're going to take our left leg. We're going to start with the left leg this time. Last time we started with the right leg. We're going to take the left leg, pass it over the right. Come up through the loop in the middle. Tie it down, and what we've created is a square knot. Okay, that is a square knot. To tie a series of these, we're going to go back to the right over left, pass it through the loop, pull it down, then left over right, pass it through the loop, pull it down. And what you should see, if you're doing it properly, is a pattern that looks like this. Those are square knots. Okay? Can you see that? Does that make sense? A series of right over left, left over right. We continue that along, creating square knots. Let's see if we could get a closer look at that series of squared knots. Hopefully you can see that, and what you'll be able to see is, let's focus on this black leg. You can see here it's on the left side of the knot. Over here it's on the right side, left side, right side. It's woven its way through that square knot. That's the pattern you want to see when you make square knots. So let's take our loop again, our string again, pass it through the handle of the coffee mug, and let's pass right over left like we did last time for our square knot, and cinch that down. Okay, but this time let's not cinch it down all the way. Let's stay up here. Okay, so if I tie my next throw left over right to make that square knot, I can lock that knot way up here. It's not cinched down. I've left myself a gap there. Okay, I've locked this suture with a little bit of a gap. Okay, why is that important? Well, sometimes you want to lock your suture in a position where you're not strangulating the tissue. Okay, now let's say we don't have to start all the way from the beginning. Here's our, well, let's go ahead. Let's start all the way from the beginning and demonstrate. This time I'm going to go right over left, pass through, I'm going to pull it down. Actually, let's not cinch it down all the way because we're going to demonstrate what happens if we go right over left again and pull it through. So we did 2 right over left throws. Now when I pull it down, that bottom knot should slip. And it didn't. That's amazing. So much for that. Okay. So let's take right over left, pass it through, cinch it down, but not all the way this time. We don't want to cinch it down all the way because we want to demonstrate something. We'll do right over left again this time. We're not alternating like we would in a square knot, and we're going to pull it down. And what we could find is that we can still slip that knot tighter. See, I can push this knot down tighter. See how it slips? I'll back it up again. I've got 2 throws in there, right? Both right over the left. And what I could do is I could pull it tighter. I can put this to however tight I want it, okay? And then when I want to lock it in place, I go to left over right. Now it's locked in that position, and I can tie another series of knots, left over right, right over left, and lock it in place. Another term you're going to hear is surgeon's knot. What the heck is a surgeon's knot? Well, let me show you. Let's take our string, our rainbow string, paracord, excuse me. We'll pass it through the handle there, and we'll start out right over left like we typically do for our demonstrations. And we're going to pass it through once, but since we're doing a surgeon's knot, we're going to pass it through twice, right? Then we can cinch that down. Now, why do we do that? Why do we pass it through twice? Well, now we have more surface area. We have more friction. We have a better chance of that knot staying right there than we do if we just looped it through once. So that's a surgeon knot. We started right over left. Now we can go left over right and continue with our knot tying pattern to lock it in place. There you have it. Knot basics. As long as you understand which leg is going over with the other leg and what that means to the knot, you've got it down, okay? Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe. Send me your text, your comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what kind of material you want to see moving forward. I'll be happy to do it, okay? Please take care of yourself. Please take care of your patients. Please do the right thing every time, okay? Thank you.